Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here, and today we're going to take a look at a long-standing fan favorite Transformer, the 1985 Autobot Warrior, Powerglide. Now, Powerglide was available in 1985. He would also briefly be available in 1986. He would be discontinued in 1987. As a warrior, he would definitely have a few others to replace him, but probably not at the price point he was being sold for. Powerglide, as we're all well known for, was one of the first Autobots who was capable of self-flight, and having an alternate mode that was also capable of flight. So that helped to make Powerglide a fan favorite due to the fact he was one of the few on their side that could take the fight to the Decepticons in the air. The only real problem with that is that his alternate mode really wasn't built for that kind of fighting. Still, he enjoys being an aerial showman, and he has become, thanks to his portrayals in the cartoon and his usefulness in his alternate mode, one of the more popular G1 toys to come out. But he's also notoriously one of the most famous to show off his playwear. So I've got his arms in a position here where he's holding on to his legs. That's to keep his wings vertically. If I move these arms, you're going to see how quickly his wings droop. See what I mean, folks? Powerglide shows his playwear very, very easily. And that's an unfortunate downside if you're looking for one on the market. If you want one with pristine wings that won't dip like that, you're going to have a heck of a job finding one. Because Powerglide was likely played with a lot by many of us as kids. Now, taking a look at his articulation, as you saw last month, his mini counterpart with Fortress Maximus had it in the arms, and Powerglide has it in the arms as well only, but his arms move independently of his wings. Plus, they can also fold out like such, and he can, as he's demonstrated, bend at the elbow. So he does have a fair amount going for him, and of course he can also turn his head from side to side. But again, that's more used to transform him, so it really doesn't do him a whole lot of good. But still, it's Powerglide. What more could you ask for? Now, as Powerglide doesn't have any loose pieces or whatever to worry about, let's go ahead and transform him. The first thing we're going to do is we've got to fold his arms up all the way against the wings. Then, of course, we're going to turn them so that the bend in his elbow faces us. Like that. And then we're going to bring his wings down to about his chest and fold them outward. And next we rotate his head all the way around and then push his legs in. And there is his alternate mode. Powerglide is an airplane. More specifically, though, he is an A-10 Thunderbolt airplane. The A-10 is one of the more popular aircraft from the United States, as it is a very accurate ground attack aircraft. The craft has been in service for about 40 years now. And while the military wants to get rid of the A-10, as it is now expensive to replace parts for it, they do not have any aircraft even being designed that can redo or replicate the functions of the A-10. And as an even added bonus for it, Powerglide, in just about all of his reiterations throughout the Transformer toy line, has been an A10. So we can also chalk that up as part of the longevity of this very powerful and very popular airplane. Of course, if any of you want realism for your A10, you would have to turn to the GoBots and its renegade character, Bad Boy, for a more realistic looking A10. Or as an even further homage to it, the G.I. Joe line did famously put out this variation of an A10 in the form of the Cobra Rattler. Now, some years ago, this toy's mold was reused and repainted to be Powerglide. So, Powerglide even gets to be a Rattler, which is in turn inspired by the A10. How lucky can you get, Powerglide? As we stated earlier, Powerglide here has no loose accessories whatsoever. So we'll go ahead and move right along to taking a look at his card backer here. This would be the original 1985 card backer. And he retailed at the old Children's Palace stores for about $3. Turn it around here to the back side. Has a little instruction here about the rub sign. And of course the 1985 mural. And here it shows how to transform him from the robot into the airplane. So he would have been packaged in robot mode. And of course down here we got the barcode and his robot points. He was worth half a point. We'll rotate it to the side here and we'll take a look at his tech spec. It's done up in red to primarily show he's an Autobot, even says Autobot, and has a nice picture of him which matches the picture on the front of the card. It gives his name as Powerglide and lists his function as Warrior. His motto is, "To stop me, you have to catch me first." A show-off. Proud he's one of the few Autobots that can fly. Incredible maneuverability. Delights in displaying his dazzling aerial virtuosity to friends or foes. Just wants their appreciation of his talent. Cruises at 500 miles per hour. Can increase our power output and speed to 3,200 miles per hour for short periods. Carries small concussion bombs. Shoots thermal beam as plane and robot. Gets into more troubles with enemy planes than he can handle. Which was quite typical of many of the Autobot flyers. They tend to push things a little too hard when they know that they don't have a lot of guys that can go up and help them. At any rate here, let's put the decoder on here and see how his stats measure up. It lists his strength as 3, his intelligence is 7, his speed is 8, his endurance is 7, his rank is 5, his courage is 8, his firepower is 6, and his skill is 9. So, aside from being physically weak, Powerglide is pretty competent in all other respects. Now we get down to my thoughts. What do I think of him? Powerglide has always been a fan favorite, and I'm no exception to that. Of course, this toy was my brother's, not mine, so I'm kind of got to wing it on that, folks. But I did have my chances to mess around with this toy, and it always was fun to have him around. And as we could state, in 1985, that's when the Autobots really started to get any guys that could fly through the air to attack the Decepticon planes. So for many of us, Powerglide was likely our first flying Autobot character, as it was either he or Cosmos that you more than likely could easily get on your allowance, especially at $3 a pop. And at any rate, he was also very well portrayed in the cartoon series, where he even did have his moments where he stood in the spotlight and tried to be more of an aerial showman than an actual warrior. But when the time came down to it, he was always there ready to battle when need be. This toy, however, it does hold up very well. I mean, granted, yeah, when you compare him next to the GoBot, he does lose a lot of it, but we gotta remember, the Autobot mini vehicles were intended to look like super deformed vehicles. They weren't intended to be entirely realistic. And Powerglide captures the actual essence of an A10 without having to go so far as to be one. Still, a few more paint apps would have been nice, like I mentioned during the Kabaya Fortress Maximus review. A little bit of color on his cockpit would have been nice, just to make it stand out a little bit better. And despite the fact that he's one of the many that does show his play wear off very easily, I'm still going to put Powerglide up in the top tier. He's certainly one of the Autobot flyers that you're going to want in your collection. And being of a small toy, he's certainly not going to break the bank when you go looking for him. So, Powerglide is definitely a top tier toy. And that concludes my review of the Generation 1 Autobot Warrior Powerglide. If you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up here on YouTube. Don't forget as well, hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already joined up in our ranks. Please also consider leaving your thoughts for Powerglide in the comments section down below. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.